To all the non-believers, 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 non-believers. I'm making.
What's up, y'all? This is Jay Varsity, and welcome to episode 69 of NBA Talk. We had the NBA Awards last night, which is a show I don't technically agree with. I mean, if you're gonna do these awards based on the regular season, you should have this, you should just give out the awards like they usually did right before the postseason or in the middle of the postseason, like they used to do, and so we could just get it over with. I mean, why the suspense of having to wait till after the finals to find out who won a regular season award? But anyway, I just want to go over the 5 awards that people want to know about, which was Rookie of the Year, Most Improved, Defensive Player of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, and obviously the MVP award. Let's start out with the Rookie of the Year. Hands down, Luka Doncic. I mean, I don't know where you could disagree. Luka Doncic was killing it from the start of the season. He's been playing more like a veteran than he has like a rookie, because he just did something different every time, and it was an eye popping moment, and you just go like, this guy's a rookie, like, jeez, huh? Like, you just I wouldn't think so. I mean, Luka Doncic did something that just made me go like, whoa, well, shoot, this guy's for real. Shit, this guy's for real, man. The most improved player. People have some disagreements about most improved, but I honestly don't find anything wrong with Pascal Siakam getting most improved player. I mean, if you look at his stats from the previous season, he only averaged about like 9 points, three rebounds and 2 assists. And then if you look at this year, he's averaging 16 points, 7 rebounds, and then maybe 4 or 5 assists. That's a huge jump. And then to go from being swept in the second round to being damn near useless in the second round last year, to being a key piece of a championship team, to winning a championship and being one of the key pieces the next season, that's incredible. So I don't disagree with Pascal Siakam being the most improved. You could argue D'Angelo Russell. You really can, because he went from being traded from the Lakers and then dealing with all that adversity that he went through to being an all-star. So you could give an argument that D'Angelo Russell should have won it. I won't be upset at that. I wouldn't disagree. So to all of you who think that D'Angelo Russell should have won it, I don't disagree with you. I won't disagree. But apparently, the Sacramento Kings are very upset because they put out a meme that says that they don't know where the most improved player math is coming from, and it's just like it was like a confused meme. And I'm sorry, I think the only 2 people that were in the running for most improved was D'Angelo Russell and Pascal Siakam. But yeah, like I said, I think Pascal Siakam deserved it. I'm not gonna argue and disagree with you if you say D'Angelo Russell deserved it. Like, I wouldn't blame you. Now, the Sixth Man of the Year. I just have one question. How in the heck did 2 players from the same team become finalists for Sixth Man of the Year? I mean, I really don't get it. Like, how did Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell get nominated for Sixth Man of the Year? Jeez, do I remember the third guy? Oh man, I really don't. I was so tired. I've had a long week. But yeah, obviously Lou Williams deserved the Sixth Man of the Year. I honestly, from my vague memory, I didn't think Montrezl Harrell came off the bench. That's how little I paid attention to Clippers games. No disrespect, but from what I see from the highlights, he plays like a starter. So it was like, the way he plays defense, the way he's so in your face, it's more like a starter than he is off the bench. But Lou Williams, he's a killer, man. I think he's one of the greatest 6 men I've ever seen coming off the bench. because as soon as he gets off the bench, it's just straight money. He's straight money coming off the bench. Um, Defensive Player of the Year. This is where I'm a little bit edgy. You had your finalists between Giannis Antetokounmpo, Paul George, and Rudy Gobert. Now, Rudy Gobert, he's an incredible shot blocker. Yes, he is. He's one of the main reasons why the Utah Jazz are so great defensively. Paul George led the league in steals, and Giannis has just been a freight train on both ends of the floor. I think Giannis was even I think he was in the top 3 in the blocks per game this season. But so they individually had their own argument for Defensive Player of the Year, but I just could not feel but just thinking I feel that Paul George should have came out with Defensive Player of the Year. I think Paul George was a proper fit to get Defensive Player of the Year just because the regular season, you couldn't lie. Paul George was locking down people in the regular season. Like, I'm not blind. I was paying attention to this dude. This guy was locking down people. He was getting steals left and right. He was just very active on the floor, and so was Giannis. And I'm not going to take away nothing from Rudy Gobert. He's very active on the defensive end. But I just didn't feel like it was worthy for him to win it back to back. I just didn't feel like he deserved this one. But I'm not trying to discredit him. He obviously that's where he strives is on the defensive end. No, I'm not meaning no disrespect. I'm just saying my preference. I just believe Paul George deserved it. And I wouldn't even be mad if Giannis would have won it, which now we're going into the MVP conversation. The 3 finalists, James Harden, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Paul George. Now this is where I can't defend Paul George. Paul George fell out of the MVP conversation before the regular season even ended. I don't remember which game it was, but he just officially fell out of the MVP conversation, and it was just a 2-headed race the rest of the way. It was just between Giannis and James Harden. And to me, I was very happy with the result that Giannis Antetokounmpo won MVP because Giannis has been effective on both ends of the floor. He's been the main contributor to why the Milwaukee Bucks won 60 games. He's just been that leader and the reason why the Milwaukee Bucks were so successful. And to anybody arguing about James Harden's scoring and his oh my God, he averaged 36. Look at how many 30-point games he had this season and all this other stuff. Yeah, but I'm here to tell you this is not NBA 2K. In NBA 2K, you could become the MVP just by having the most points in the season. Well, this ain't NBA 2K. For me, the MVP award, you need to be effective somewhere on both ends of the floor. Now, I'm going to hear the argument that James Harden wasn't so bad defensively, but he's still a bad defender. Giannis has been getting better every single season that he's been in the league. He's only 24 years old, and he's already an MVP. And I couldn't help but feel for Giannis during his MVP speech. I really could not help but feel for Giannis during that MVP speech. It was well deserved. And anybody who wants to argue that James Harden should have won it, well, I'm here to tell you, if you can't do something on the defensive end, and to me, James Harden was not effective as a leader this season because it was basically give me the ball and I'll make a miracle out of it. Like, you could have said yourself, this type of offense is not going to work. I need to get my teammates involved, which is something Giannis does also. He gets his teammates involved. He's effective on both ends of the floor, which is something I mainly critique when it comes to the MVP. Which is why Giannis quite frankly, Giannis had a small chance of walking away with both the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year award. So I'm very happy with the result when that Giannis won. I would have been extremely disappointed if James Harden would have won this award because you strictly are just following what he did on offense and not seeing how his all-around game was affecting his team. His team was struggling, yes, and they would damn near fall into the gutter, and James Harden got them out of there. Yes, I get that. But just because you averaged 36 and you had all these 30-point games doesn't mean it was always effective. He still lost big games where he damn near scored 50. Like come on, that cannot be your only argument. But yes, Giannis deserved it. Congratulations. And this is only the beginning to what he can achieve. Like he said, he's not satisfied with just winning MVP. He wants to win a championship. And quite frankly, he's going to come back very, very hungry next season. And I can't wait to see how he improves because I have a feeling we're going to see Giannis with a little bit of a jumper next season. So I know I'm a little late, but talking about the NBA draft, the hype for Zion Williamson is absolutely nuts in New Orleans right now. The hype for this New Orleans team, I'm very, very interested on how this New Orleans Pelicans team is gonna do. They're gonna be very young and they're gonna be quite talented. I mean, for me in particular, you could say I'm crazy, but I just think as an observation and what I'm looking at from this roster has the potential to be almost like the 2012 Oklahoma City Thunder. Like I'm just looking at I'm just looking at the talent on this team and give them a couple years. This team is not too far away from being very good. Zion obviously is going to be effective from the jump. Who know? This is where they would be absolutely effective if Brandon Ingram can come back and average that short and keep going with how he was playing before he got the blood clots when he was damn near averaging 30 for like a week and a half. If Brandon Ingram can start the jump just like that, then we got ourselves a team. And then Lonzo Ball, if he could play at 100% and not injure his ankle every 2 months, then maybe he'll prove us wrong. Because quite frankly, for teams who leave the Lakers, they somehow play better when they're not on the Lakers anymore. But Drew Holiday with Lonzo Ball is going to make a great defensive backcourt. That's a great defensive backcourt. Oh man, I can't, damn, I can't remember who they drafted as center, but yeah, write his name down in the comments and remind me. But he's also going to be very good. He's going to be very good on the defensive end when it comes to blocking shots. He'll probably get some easy lobs every now and then because of the talent that's on the team. And this team is going to be very fun to watch. You know, people are going to want to see what Zion does, all the crazy dunks he's going to do. He's probably going to posterize some people. Let's not deny that. Like, I would laugh very hard if Zion dunked on Rudy Gobert in his rookie season. I would damn near laugh my butt off. But yeah, we're going to see a lot of crazy highlights. I feel like Lonzo is going to strive knowing that he has all these great teammates. And I feel like Brandon Ingram is finally going to be one of the vocal points of an offense. I feel like him and Zion could be the dynamic duo of this team. Lonzo is going to obviously throw some crazy lobs to Zion. Josh Hart is going to be a key piece off the bench. And quite frankly, they're going to be a free agency destination because you're seeing the potential of this team. They have the same potential as the Denver Nuggets from a couple of years ago, and look at the Denver Nuggets now. They're on the verge of being contenders. So So yeah, the Pelicans have a lot of potential, and the Atlanta Hawks. They didn't do too bad in the draft either. They managed to come out with they managed to come out with Cam Reddish. They managed to come out with Jared Culver. They didn't do too bad themselves. They traded Kent Bazemore for Evan Turner to the Portland Trailblazers, and the Hawks are on the right track too. So Trae Young is not going to be the only offensive weapon on the Hawks. I feel like they're going to go down the same path. I feel like the new trend is going to be to develop a young team and wait a couple years and then see how they develop to become contenders. This whole win now scenario is slowly starting to die because the teams who are contenders for a reason. They've been patient. They've been patient in making the right moves. And some people take risks. Like in case of Toronto, they took the risk on trading for Kawhi Leonard, and they got Danny Green in the package, and they had to trade DeMar DeRozan and Jakob Poeltl. And look what came out. They came out with an NBA championship. Speaking of Kawhi Leonard, the Los Angeles Clippers, I know you've seen on Instagram, they came out with billboards trying to recruit Kawhi. But Kawhi, I've read from sources that he is very, very, very much considering re-signing with the Toronto Raptors. And I just don't agree with Scottie Pippen saying that he should only sign a one-year deal to try to defend the NBA championship. But like I'm saying, I'm not Kawhi. I don't know what he's thinking right now. But Kawhi Leonard, if I had to tell you in person, the best thing for you, man, you should stay in Toronto. You have a whole country that loves you, and they're treating you like a god. They're treating you like a god right now. Because you're the greatest thing since Michael Jordan when it comes to the Raptors right now. I know people are gonna think, yeah, I know Michael Jordan didn't play for the Raptors. I'm not dumb, but Kawhi Leonard is their Michael Jordan. I mean, my God, if you just have to ask why, just go watch Kawhi Leonard's playoff run on Free Dawkins' channel. He has a whole highlight reel of every round in the playoffs of Kawhi's highlights, and you could just see why he's their Michael Jordan. Anyway, on to the next news. There was a short span of reports saying that teams were hesitant on trying to sign Kyrie Irving. Supposedly the Nets were hesitating because they were afraid that he's not going to bring Kevin Durant with him. But quite frankly, Kevin Durant is very upset with the medical staff in Golden State. And so Kevin Durant's very upset right now. So I think, all in all, I think Kevin Durant is going to leave Golden State. But it's shocking to me that now the Brooklyn Nets are the favorite to land Kevin Durant. Whew. We're talking about the Knicks all year round, and now all of a sudden it's the Brooklyn Nets that are the favorites to land Kevin Durant. Do I think it will happen? I honestly think that Kyrie and Kevin Durant are going to play together regardless, because there is only a small chance that Kyrie ever thinks about supposedly going back and going to play with LeBron again, and I just don't see it happening no matter how much he wants to play with AD. I just don't see it happening. I feel like Kyrie and KD are going to play together in one of these New York teams, but if it has to be the Brooklyn Nets, then I feel like they're going to team up one way or another. Let me see what else do I have to cover. Oh yes, the Los Angeles Lakers, They have been eyeing certain players well, let's be honest, who are the Lakers not interested in? I mean, anytime I see the Lakers are interested in this guy, they're interested in this guy. Who are they not interested in? That's the real question. They're interested in Jimmy Butler, but they're interested in Bobby Portis. They're interested in trying to get some defensive minded players. But for me, it's just I think they need to focus on trying to spread the cap around, and they need to get some solid role players and defenders. I wouldn't necessarily try to build a big three at this point because you don't necessarily need a big three to win a championship, to tell you the truth. And I think the Toronto Raptors proved that. I know you're going to tell me, yeah, the Golden State Warriors were injured and all that, but look at how Golden State was penalized at the fact that they had a bad bench. They had a horrible bench. And that's how they were compromised scoring because they didn't have enough scoring coming off the bench. I mean, who was their best scorer? Well, I think it was, what was it, Andre Iguodala? Andre Iguodala cannot be your best scorer coming off the bench. But in the case of the Lakers, you should focus on trying to get some shooters. You need shooting. You cannot do what you did last season. You cannot do what you did last season. The Lakers cannot repeat that again. They need to get some solid role players. They need to get some solid shooters and some I'm not completely agile, but very capable defenders who are able to defend on the switch, because you can't go with what you did last year and just get a whole bunch of playmakers and just expect to get layups and dunks the entire time. It's not going to happen. You need shooters around LeBron and AD. When they will strive if you have shooters, they will be an elite team. So I don't necessarily think that the Lakers should go and try to get a big three to try to win a championship, because I've heard rumors saying that D'Angelo Russell would consider going back to the Lakers after Magic's departure if the money was right. And quite frankly, that's where I draw the line. I think that's my biggest fear when he says if the money is right. Now, if he somehow takes a pay cut or maybe even signs a 2-year deal, then by all means, find a way to get D'Angelo Russell to sign a 2-year deal. But don't give him don't try to max him out to try to get a couple more years and then get players that are not going to fit with the team. Look at LeBron and AD's play styles and see that they strive in the paint. So what happens when you have two dominant players that could dominate the paint? You surround them with shooters so they can spread the floor, and it's easier for them to penetrate the paint. And LeBron, he's become a pretty capable shooter at the three-point line. So it's like Anthony Davis, both him and Anthony Davis jobs, because it's going to be quite easy because they're not guys that you could just leave open at the three-point line anymore. Anthony Davis has become a pretty capable shooter, and I'm pretty sure he's working on his three-point shot even more now more than ever. LeBron and Anthony Davis are going to have stuff to prove next season. They're going to come through with a vengeance. They're going to come and wreak havoc on the league. But if you don't provide them with the shooters that they need and the point guard that they need to move the ball around, then it's just going to be give the ball to AD and LeBron and see what they do. And that's not how it works. It's a team effort to win a championship. But yeah, the Utah Jazz got Mike Conley, which I think is an upgrade from Ricky Rubio. I'm a little questionable about all the pieces they gave up for Mike Conley, but if I'm the Utah Jazz and I had to give up Jay Crowder, Grayson Allen, Kyle Korver, and future and draft picks, I would say it's worth it. Because you need a scoring point guard to work with Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell cannot be your main offensive threat, which the Memphis Grizzlies I've heard are waiving they're gonna let go of Kyle Korver. So the Memphis Grizzlies, they somehow win in this too, because they're going back more into that grit and grind, and then they have John Morant. So I think the Grizzlies are moving in the right direction. I feel like the Utah Jazz are going in the right direction. I just feel like they just need that three guy. That they just need an agile third and small forward. I just don't feel like Joe Ingles is the guy that you can have at the three position that can help you win a championship or even be a contender. I just don't feel like you can have Joe Ingles doing that. He's more of just a spot up shooter than being an actual small forward. And the power forward position, I feel like they need to get a power forward who could actually spread the floor and not clog up the paint, so Rudy Gobert could do his work. Let's see. Any other, I believe I've covered a lot so far. The New York Knicks. Oh yeah, let me get with the New York Knicks. With R.J. Barrett, I've never in my entire life seen somebody get excited to become a Knick as much as R.J. Barrett did. I've never seen somebody get so excited in my life to become a Knick like R.J. Barrett. Like, he is genuinely excited to be a Knick. Like, wow. That video of him walking into Madison Square Garden, and then he hears them calling supposedly the audio of them calling his name into the lineup. His face was just like, wow, I'm gonna be playing in the Garden. Like, I feel like R.J. Barrett was a better pickup for the Knicks than Zion Williamson, to tell you the truth, because he just looks genuinely happy to be to be able to say he's going to be in a Knicks uniform. And whether a big free agent comes or not, I feel like he's going to strive, and we'll see what just happens from there. But it's just the fact he just looks happy to be a Knick. He just looks very happy to be a Knick, and it's just unbelievable. There were quite a few people that got drafted very low. One, I would have to say, I'm quite surprised at some of them, to tell you the truth. I just need to put this on blast. The Miami Heat, what the hell were you thinking at drafting Tyler Hero? I'm really disappointed in the Miami Heat with their draft pick. I'm really disappointed. I'm hearing people saying he's going to be the next Klay Thompson and all that. I don't put people in Klay Thompson's category, because have you seen Klay Thompson? Have you seen Klay Thompson? This man dropped 60 points in what? Maybe 30 minutes and only dribbled the ball 11 times? Like, come on, bro. Like, I really don't understand how you could try to compare somebody to Klay Thompson. And I just don't. I'm like, what are they doing? They need a score. We need to find a way to move on. Well, not we. They need to find a way to move on from Goran Dragic. And Romeo Langford, to me, was the answer. I feel like Romeo Langford was the answer. And if you're not going to go after a guard, you should have gone after Kevin Porter Jr., who I was surprised was picked 30th. And whose lap did he fall into? The Cleveland Cavaliers. Oh, wow. How could they not get any luckier? They got Darius Garland and Kevin Porter Jr. So how much luckier can the Cavs get? But I feel like he's very underrated with his scoring. He got criticized for being too immature or something like that, but come on, it's just he's a solid player. And then Romeo Langford, he's a scoring machine. And the Miami Heat had him in the palm of his hands, and he fell to the Boston Celtics. Man. And speaking of the Boston Celtics, Now the news with Al Horford, he's leaving Boston, and now the two front runners for him, I believe, are the Clippers and the Mavericks. Like I don't know what's going on with the Boston Celtics right now, but I feel like they're gonna take a couple steps back next season when it comes to their roster, because losing Aaron Baines, losing Kyrie Irving, losing Al Horford, that's kind of huge. That is kind of huge. That's very shocking to see when it comes to the Boston Celtics, because to me the Boston Celtics are very careful with what moves they make. Yes, they're risky, but they're not dumb. They're not just gonna make moves like that out of nowhere. So yeah. I believe that's what I'm covering so far from free agency news, the draft picks, the award ceremonies. Next season should be very fun. I'm gonna try to keep up with the free agency updates. Like I said, the videos might not be as consistent because I've been very busy. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe if you like basketball content. This is your boy J Varsity, and I am out. Peace.
We got some non-believers out there.
Make believers out of non-believers. Make believers out the overseers. Make 'em